Hello and welcome to Navigating the Chapters of Challenge with Tele. I hope you've had a good day today. I've had a good day. Yeah, I can't complain. Today we've got a returning guest in the house again. We've got Fela with us again today. And Fela, say hello to everyone and we'll go straight into it.
Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in again to Chapters of Challenge.
Yeah, Navigating the Chapters of Challenge.
Navigating the Chapters of Challenge.
Okay, so we're going to go straight into it again today because time is never our friend on this show.
No.
Before we know it, the time is all gone.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about ways of minimizing challenges in marriage or fundamentals of a good marriage. So that's what we're going to try and discuss today and see how far we can take it, yeah?
Yes.
And I just want to start with a quote that I read. It says, "The happiest place on earth is marriage." The happiest place on earth is marriage. And I'm just wondering, if the happiest place on earth is marriage, how come there are lots of challenges in marriages? What's your take on that quote?
Oh, I would say it can be.
Yeah.
It can be the happiest place, a place where you feel comfortable, a place where you share with someone you care about and who cares about you, someone who's got your back, someone you can laugh with, cry with, do virtually anything. A place where you feel safe.
Safe, yeah.
That's the key. So I'm sure that's what the person who made that quote, that's what they're referring to. It is a place, but it's all dependent on what we make of it.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
Okay. So what are the fundamentals of a good marriage?
Okay, for me, I think marriage itself, when you want to talk about the fundamentals, I think it's essential for us to start from the point of preceding marriage, because there's a common saying, as you make your bed, that's the way you're going to lie on it. Mm-hmm. So what are the things that are fundamental to us experiencing or enjoying our marriages? Mm-hmm. And we need to look at things prior to getting married.
Okay.
Now, there's so many little things that this is what I say when I advise young people when they talk about what are the things. I say to them, one, you need to have a kind of checklist. I mean, bear in mind, anyone that is listening, we're basing this on, Christian marriages, but it would work for anybody.
Yeah.
So, the key thing is the spouses, anyone who wants to get married, you as an individual has to have, what are you looking for in a relationship?
Checklist.
Yeah. What are you looking for in a marriage?
Yeah.
There are some things that you're going to have that I call the deal breaker list. Mm-hmm. That's it. It doesn't have to be very long.
Okay.
Maybe 3, 4, 5 things that if one is missing from those things, then you know that because it's so core to your person and fundamental to what you want to achieve in a marriage, if you go ahead with it, that thing is still going to, it's something that's going to be recurring in your mind. Oh, this is missing. And I think that's where a lot of people make, little mistakes. When a young man approaches a young woman, oh, let's date and I want to marry you. Many people just don't ask questions anymore. But there are things that have to be understood.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why maturity is essential in marriage.
Yeah.
And for me, apart from, of course, for a Christian, you want the person you want to be married to be on the same page with you. That means you want to be both be Christians. That's why the Bible says that don't be unequally yoked. Now, if we want to stretch that statement, if you're marrying someone who does not know how to manage the anger, how do you deal with it? These are key things that you need to learn and understand about your spouse before you get into the relation. How do they manage money? What's their temperament like? What kind of family background do they come from? Because the truth is, whether we like it or not, everybody goes into a marriage and a relationship with some element of baggage. Because you didn't just drop from the skies. You've gone through some experiences. You have some ideas as to what you want and how things work. So those are the things you're bringing into the marriage. And that's why it's essential for each party to know what they want to achieve in the relationship.
So when you said don't be unequally yoked, and you've brought in knowing how the person manages money and anger management, how does that tie in with that scripture?
Okay. Say for instance, your partner is someone who just likes to spend on the whim, and you're someone who likes to, you're cautious about, not too cautious about spending, but
you're more cautious.
You evaluate things before you spend.
Yeah.
You're going to continually have a problem in that area.
Okay. So does that mean you're unequally yoked in that area? You can't be exactly the same.
No. You can see what unequal yokes means is, if this person, you will know whether someone is likely. If the person never sees it from your perspective before they get married, how do you think they're likely to see from your perspective when they're in the marriage? I'm not saying it's impossible, but if you're not even aware that this is how this person treats money, say for instance, your income only supports, you don't have too much room for extras, and you're dating someone who always wants to eat out all the time.
Yeah.
When you get married, how do you think you're going to deal with that if you don't start talking about it now? And when you start talking about it now, the way they respond or react will tell you whether you're heading towards a major challenge. Because if they are amenable, if they are someone, I've never seen it from that perspective, okay, let's look at how do you think this? If there is curiosity, someone may not even be aware that you can deal with things differently. They will be open-minded.
Okay.
But someone who is, let me use the common phrase, my money is my money.
Yeah.
Now you have to pay for everything. You have to do this. You have to do that. And when you try to say, look, listen, I can't, no, you must do this, you must do that, you must do that. Not compromising, not willing to learn, not willing to understand. If that's the kind of attitude someone has before you marry them, how do you think is going to go?
Okay, so
you're going to get a breaking point.
Okay, so that's your stretch on the word of unequally yoked. Okay.
From a spiritual perspective, is you marrying someone who does not believe in the same
things that you
God
believe
as you believe in.
Yeah.
You're at cross purposes.
Yeah.
You will always go, and it's the same thing. For me, the thing about scripture is, if you learn things in scripture, you read things in scripture, and you can't apply it to some aspect of your life, you still haven't fully understood it. What's been born again is turning away from ways that you know are destructive to you physically and to your soul, and going the way that you know is God's way. Now, someone who drinks, when you get drunk, you're going to act in ways that are what's the word?
Unbecoming is
unbecoming. You're
word.
going to do and say things you wish you never did. No one has to tell you that you need to check your ways. That is it's a renewing. It says the renewing of your mind.
Yeah.
But the renewing of your mind has to be expressed in your actions. So that's what I mean. So that's when you have got to take every scripture and be able to stretch it.
Okay.
So being born again does not mean, how can you be born again spiritually and you're not born again with the way you manage money? You're not born again about the way you talk to people. Have no regard for anybody. You're not born again about your attitude to work. You're not born again about your attitude to your fellow humans. Then your spirituality is a waste.
Yeah. Okay, so you have to apply it. Okay. So you said something about having the same approach. But if you look at the issue of parenting styles, which is a common area where couples have a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
People come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And they bring what they've learned from their background into the marriage. So if a couple come together and they have different ideas on parenting, how do they deal with that? And how do they manage that so that they have a good marriage or a stable marriage? Because they're going to have different views. So how do they manage that?
I mean, that stems from communication. Communication is the key. Okay, let's take a typical example. If you grew up in an environment where you went to private schools, private this, private that, exclusive that, that's your spouse, that's yourself. You're marrying someone who went to public everything. Now, when you both marry, you're coming with the mindset, my children have to go to private schools. It's got to be private nursery, primary, secondary, and all that. That's the mindset. That's what you want. This other person is come from the background public. Now, the issue you need to resolve in your home will be, is it affordable?
Okay.
It's not just about, I went to a private school. You went to a private school because your parents could afford it.
Okay.
You know what this person earns, the person you're getting married to. If you know from his income before you got married and things have not, improved drastically for him, asking him,
for both of you, really,
or for both of you, insisting that your children have to go to a private school because you want to feel, or maybe you believe you have this.
That's just the way it should be.
Yes. Or you have some friends or class. No, it has to be. There's nothing that says anything has to be, provided it can be paid for, without creating more problems for you down the line and in the future. So that's one area that I know a lot of people have challenges, but I don't have a problem with if the woman can even afford to pay for the schooling.
If any party can afford to pay for
the reason why is that's on the bedrock. The basis that the man cannot afford it. Afford it in the sense that it's not a priority.
Okay.
Because that's the key. Is it a priority? Take, for instance, the education system in the United Kingdom. University education is the most expensive.
Yeah.
By the time you spend some very good money on primary and secondary education, that money is probably going to be better spent if it was saved up for their university education to minimize the amount of debt that these children are going to get into. So it's about just discussing, not just saying this thing has to be done like this. It's about understanding why you want it to be done. If it's affordable, brilliant. You don't have to go borrowing. You don't have to go,
starve yourselves.
Exactly. Because you want to send your kids to private school. More so, when you look at it, when it's time for your children to go to university, they're going to go to the same universities that those who went to comprehensive and
public schools
and what do they call them now?
Grammar schools. Everybody's ending up in the same thing, doing the same courses. So they may have an edge in getting in, Yeah.
But everybody, by the time they get to universities, everybody's leveled up.
Yeah.
So that's just an example. It's you can send your kids. I think the key thing is affordability and understanding between both spouses.
Okay.
Because I've seen situations where this thing has actually created real tension in the home.
Yeah.
Just because one party is, I mean, it could even be the man that is saying no, because I went no, outright no, without explaining why you think it should not be done. It's not a good way to communicate.
Okay. So, so what else is a fundamental of good marriage? We're talking about fundamentals of good marriage. What other fundamentals are there of good marriage?
I mean, one of the very good ones is having a good understanding of the background of your spouse.
Okay.
Because we come from different backgrounds, we are going to see things differently. But that means we have to be ready to listen to what the other party, what explanation, because you need to be able to, okay, let's use, because these things are better when you use examples.
Yeah.
Say, for instance, someone who is from a background where everything was done for them.
Yeah.
And then you're marrying a man who is from a background where he's done everything, or everybody chips in and everybody does everything. Now, when you marry and this person believes, oh, I need this for this, and say, no, it's not required. We don't have kids yet. What do we need help for? What do we need this service for? What do you need that service for? And that's what I've been used to. Yes, but this is what we are doing. So this is why some of these issues
this is what it should be. This is what I think we should do. Not this is what we are doing.
Exactly. But you find that men, want to be
in charge.
I mean, men lead by example, but the way you communicate and you carry the people you're leading is as important rather as the leadership itself. Because if you don't carry them along, they'll do things because you said it, only up to a point.
Yeah.
And a point will come where they will refuse.
Yeah.
Because you've not actually carried them along, made them realize why these things have to be done the way you're saying it. And you should be able to know that you cannot always be right.
Yeah.
Your children could even be the ones that will bring out the best ideas.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong in acknowledging and saying, no, I didn't even think about it that way. Be willing to accept that you don't know it all. And your children will have the highest respect for you. Your spouse your wife will have the highest regard for you because she knows you listen. But it's a two-way street.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was reading something about how when you're trying to resolve challenges in marriage, for instance, couples should complain without blaming. So is it possible to actually complain without blaming somebody? To complain about something without blaming. Somebody's doing something you're not happy about and you're complaining. How do you complain without blaming? I just thought that was a bit...
it's not a contradiction in terms.
Okay.
It's not. See, there's constructive criticism and there's destructive.
Yeah.
When you complain and you blame, the other party is not likely to hear or see the good in what you're saying.
Okay.
All they're just going to see is you saying you did. You can complain about something, but it's not enough to complain about something without actually offering a solution.
Okay.
Or an alternative to the way that thing has been done. You can, if someone has put something somewhere and it broke, say a cup, explain to them that it's not just because they're useless or careless. That's why the cup broke. It's because of where they placed it.
Mm-hmm.
And show them, look, next time, don't place this here. If you put this here, the chances of being tripped over are reduced.
Okay.
So you're showing them, you're pointing out their error, but you're not kicking them while they're on the ground. So it's possible to complain. Blaming, I mean, personally, sometimes I think the issue of blame would actually come when the person has actually, you've gone into an angry mood.
Yeah.
That's when your
Blame.
blame comes in. But if you have not gone into an angry mood, you'll be able to say, look, this is what happened, this led to this led to this. It can be averted if X, Y, Z have been done.
But in realistic terms, how often do we complain without blaming in realistic terms?
For me, blaming would occur when frustration is setting.
Okay.
Because if you've said something twice and three times and the person's still not getting it, it's either my message, I'm passing my message the wrong way, or this person's just being obstinate in this, or they just can't see the reason why I'm saying things can be done differently. They're so used to doing it in a particular way. And whether subconsciously, they're just not, imbibing the information or not just listening.
But is there anything wrong in doing things differently? Because
No.
people can do things differently. So a style of doing stuff doesn't necessarily have to cause problems. Shouldn't lead to complaints in the marriage, should it?
No, it shouldn't. However, it's the outcome of the styles.
Okay.
If you're used to doing things in a particular way and I'm trying to think of an example. Say, for instance, someone washes the dishes.
I knew you were coming there.
And you probably just don't dry them. And one other person says, look, when you finish washing the dishes, dry them first before you actually put them away.
Yeah.
Reason is you put wet plates on wood slowly, that thing is going to be deteriorating.
Okay.
Whereas when you allow it to dry, you're still going to get more out of that. I mean, it's not everybody. Sometimes why people won't go to that level of detail is because I'm not talking to a baby. He or she should know that. So how many times am I going to say this or this or this? So it's frustration most times that leads to blame.
Okay. Let's not go too much on this dishes.
No.
Because I thought you were going to talk about the dishwasher. How to load plates in the dishwasher. This actually drives me nuts because we don't see eye to eye on this. But let's move on from there. Let's leave it at that. Okay, so what were we talking about? Where did we stop now? I've got distracted about blame and complain and everything. Yeah. Okay, but sometimes when somebody keeps complaining about one thing or the other, you find that some couples shut down. Somebody begins to shut down. I think we mentioned this when we did the topic on commitment and communication in marriage. Yeah. Not commitment, conflict,
yeah.
Yeah, and communication in marriage. And we talked about shutting down. And so, again, I just wanted us to revisit that. How do you deal with somebody who constantly just shuts down? So when something happens, they just completely shut down and they don't want to talk about it. One person wants to talk about it. The other person is like, I don't want to talk about this. I'm shutting down. How do you deal with that?
That person has got it's still the frustration. There's something that is missing.
Yeah.
It's either that person feels I'm not being heard or I'm not being listened to. Or this person feels, if the shoe was on the other side, you probably would only want to talk when it's got to do with me. But when it's got to do with you, you either trivialize it or you don't you don't give it any serious attention. So when someone shuts down, like we said, you should know your spouse when they're not flowing with you.
Yeah.
I mean, there are different ways once you've lived with someone for a while, you begin to understand their nuances and facial expressions and or whatnot. But you just have to be able to draw it out from there, because the problem with shutting down is things get bottled up. And the slightest thing that probably has no bearing on the issue at hand just causes a blow up.
Yeah.
So someone who shuts down, personally, I don't think is very healthy. Sometimes there's a difference between shutting down and being quiet for the moment. Because from experience, when you open your mouth when you are angry, more often than not, you say things you wished you never said.
Yeah, you
so
say
it's
the wrong
possible
things.
Someone will just be quiet for a moment. But once that moment has passed, they will talk about it. But someone who just shuts down, either because they have not had their way, or they think things should be done in a particular way and it's not been done, that's just throwing a tantrum.
But what about couples that keep malice with one another? I find that really hard to understand. How you keep malice? Some keep malice for days, sometimes for weeks. How do they overcome this, and what's the way forward?
It's a bullying tactic. It's
bullying on whose side? The person keeping malice?
Yes, because look, if I know you don't like, if I know ignoring you will break you, and I want to have my way, whether I'm right or wrong, that's the button I will keep pressing, because I know you can't stand the heat. So it's a bullying. It's just a way of wanting to subdue the other party, because they know they are, sooner than later, they're going to have their way. So it's just a bullying tactic.
So what should a person who is being, let's use the word bullied rather, what should that person be doing when that's happening? How do they overcome it?
Ignore it. I would rather say, one, you either ignore or make them aware straight away that, listen, this approach has worked in the past, it's not working anymore. Even if you refuse to, talk or do anything, a day, 2 days, 1 year from now, this position will not, because you are wrong here. And these are the reasons why this.
But won't that cause more tension? Because then now it's like an open fight, more or less, because you're saying, well, I know you're bullying me, I'm not going to take it. But, don't you think that would be a bit more?
The thing is
contentious.
You don't have to, it does not have to be from an angry perspective.
Okay.
You can be calm by letting someone know, I know what you are doing, but it's not working. It's as simple as that. I know what you're doing, but it's not going to work.
Okay.
If that's how you choose to live, God help you. But this is wrong. This is not how to deal with it. This is how things should be done. There are some people
I think if you say that to somebody, you get the person's back up.
No. It doesn't have to be immediately.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be then. Because, like the common saying, how do you tell the difference from someone who is mad? If two people are shouting, how can you tell who is whatever? Shouting does not get you what you want, or raving and making a lot of noise. People can't tell the difference. So if I'm not the, what's the phrase? If I'm not the confrontational type,
yeah,
that does not mean you can run over me. It only means that I will deal with issues in a different way. I don't have to shout and jump up for me to make you realize, don't go beyond this point.
So would you wait till that the issue has been resolved before you say, oh, you know what, the way you handle this is not the way forward. We can't be handling things like this? Or would you say it even when the person is still holding malice or keeping malice rather?
No, I think you would find the right time.
Okay.
Yeah, it may not be midday, it may not even be 1 or 2 days. You'll get on with things, but time will come when you still have to address that. But I don't believe in sweeping things. Just say, look, I don't want trouble, so just let it go. No. Every time you let things go and you don't address them properly, not necessarily because you have to always win, you're piling it up, and it's like a gunpowder. It will blow up in your face sooner than later.
Okay. So, it said that 3 most important words in marriage are please, thanks, and sorry. What's your take on that?
Very correct. You have to learn to say, I'm sorry, when you are wrong. And I think that's something that is quite difficult for many men to. It's very difficult for many men to say, because some men will feel apologizing makes them less of a man. It reduces their position in the home as the he-man or what have you. But no, sorry makes you human.
Okay.
Please makes you human. And when your children hear those words from you, you're teaching them that saying you're sorry does not subjugate you in any way. It just makes you're just acknowledging the fact that I got it wrong on this occasion. But that does not change anything. You're just human, and you can make mistakes. Everybody makes errors, either error of judgment or we all make errors. Hands up and say, you know what, I got it wrong, even with your children.
Yeah.
And they will respect you for it, rather than just trying to, force your way through at all costs. You're damaging them, you're destroying them. And gradually, they'll just pull away from you slowly.
But not just the children, even your spouse will begin to pull away because they feel you're...
Yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
It's just a matter. That's why, shamefully, I've read so many things about Nigerian communities where you find so many elderly men back in Nigeria living all alone, and their wives have gone to meet their children, and they're under the guise of I'm helping them to take care of children, and they've gone for years. Now, if you pull back and see how many of those relationships were, it just happens to be an escape for those women. So it's something that I think younger men of a different generation need to realize. If you treat your spouse with love and respect, that you treating her with love and respect does not mean she's going to walk over you. No.
And I think it works both ways.
It works both ways.
Yeah.
And I like the favorite saying, respect is not demanded, it is earned. If you don't earn the respect of your children or your spouse, it's a matter of time. And by the time reality dawns on you, it probably will be too late.
Too late. And thank you. Please, sorry, thank you. A lot of people don't say thank you. Is thank you important in a marriage?
It is. It's just a sign of appreciation.
For instance, when your spouse does the dishes, you just say thank you for doing the dishes.
You say thank you for not just the dishes. You say thank you for everything. Oh, thanks for getting me a cup of water. It makes the person feel appreciated. If you don't say thank you, like the Bible says, it's like you've been robbed. And that's how the other party feels. Typical, let me use an African man, whatever. You come home, you've both gone to work. You both probably come home about the same time, or the man even gets home before her. And you're waiting for her when she gets back. After having as busy a day as yours, They are now, oh, where is my food? Where is this? Where is that? Who says that men can offer assistance or support in the home? These are the things that puts women under a lot of pressure. Nobody says the man should be the cook. And by no means, if you can cook well, what is wrong with it? Cooking for your family, where the opportunity arises. So,
okay, there's nothing that says a woman should be the cook.
No, there's nothing that says a woman should be the cook all the time.
Yeah, good.
You know, if where you can offer support, that's why I don't regard anything a man does in his own home as assistance. It is support. When you use the phrase assistance, you make it someone else's responsibility. When you use the phrase support. It's something for every one of us.
So it's the team effort.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite sayings, as you know, a man finds a snake, a woman kills it. Bottom line, the snake is dead. Who kills the snake is immaterial, provided the snake dies. And that's the way I think we should look at our homes. If there is something that needs to be done and someone has not gotten around to doing it, if you can do it, do it.
And the other person can say thank you. Should say thank you. Should appreciate every little.
Yes. The thing is, we should appreciate one another.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Because that's what makes you feel wanted and valued in the home. But someone who just thinks everything, this is my right. No. There's no right.
So how do you show appreciation? What ways do you show appreciation?
Every way possible. We all like different things.
Okay.
It might just even be. I mean, the example I gave, you both just come back from work. You may not be doing the dishes, whatever, but while your wife is trying to do the cooking, there's nothing wrong in being by her side in the kitchen, and even just having a chat and talking. Oh, can I get you this? Can you do? She will be glad that you're there, even though her feet are aching and she's tired. But the fact that you're not sitting in front of your TV and back home reading newspapers and watching whatever, it just makes the woman look at you as I'm not. I mean, one thing I always try to say is every man should realize that their wives is someone else's daughter. And if you can't imagine living happily, seeing your own daughter being treated the way you're treating your wife, then don't do it. It means it's wrong.
Okay. So, I want to talk about the appreciation. I still want to keep on to the appreciation. What about things like gifts? Let's talk about gifts and stuff like that. Should we be focusing on giving each other gifts as a way of appreciation? Should things like gifts and stuff be just for special occasions like birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas, Valentine's Day? When you want to show appreciation to your spouse, should you leave it to just those times, or should there be times in the marriage where you just do it just because?
I mean, I would say as much as situation and circumstances permits you, there's no reason why you can't show up. You see, the thing is, it depends on each person's mindset again.
Okay.
Some other person will say, I show appreciation by the things I do around the house. Now, does that mean if my spouse now does not consider that appreciation, is it because it's become more of a norm, expected rather than an exception? So I think, I mean, what I would say is, for me, there are no hard and fast rules as to how you show appreciation. When you know your spouse, you should know the kind of thing she likes. Now, how often you do it he or she likes. How often you do it is now dependent on the individual. But appreciation does not, because trust me, there are people who give physical gifts.
But their heart is not in it.
Exactly, and So that's why I don't want to say, oh, you have to buy flowers and you have to buy this and do that. There are people who do that, and that's not what the spouse wants.
So this brings us to what they talk about, the love languages.
Yeah.
The love languages of couples. So do you think that's something that's very important to know?
It is important. You need to know your spouse. You never see. I think every one of us should know that we're all work in progress.
Yeah,
we learn every day.
Yeah.
We learn different things from our spouses every time, and because we're on different stages in life, different things show up at different times. That was one of the things. And I missed out. One of the things you asked at the beginning was, the fundamentals. What are key? What's key? For me, one of the most important things in marriage is you marrying your friend.
Yeah.
Friendship is what will see you through so many challenging times.
Yeah.
There are marriages where husbands and wife compete. It's just a matter of time. That people live together does not mean they're enjoying their marriages.
Yeah.
So it's when you marry your friend, and friendship takes time to build.
Yeah.
I've seen people who've gotten married in very short periods of time, and their marriages are working. But for a lot of people, get to know someone who is your friend, because you can laugh at one another, you can crack jokes with one another, you can poke fun at one another, and one party is not taking offense. Of course, the right time and the right place to do these
that.
things.
Yeah.
You can talk about the same thing you've talked about for many years, and you both will still laugh about it. Those are the things that would hold you together when you're challenged, because every marriage has its own challenges. Some could be financial, some will be health-wise health, some will be emotional. There'll be different things that will happen to every relationship at different times. But when you're friends, by the real sense of the word being a friend, someone who looks out for the good of the other party, it would help you to, go through those moments easier. Someone you can share with, someone you feel, if I say this, I'm not going to feel criticized, I'm not going to feel beaten and battered. So that's what the issue of friendship in a marriage, that's how important it is.
And I understand that there are 3 C's of marriage. Not 3, 5 C's of marriage.
Okay.
Communication, commitment, compassion, compatibility, and chemistry. I wanted us to focus on compatibility. The last time we talked about communication, and I think we did something about compassion as well in the episode on communication. So I wanted us to look at compatibility. Why is it necessary to be compatible? I think this is going back to the being equally yoked kind of thing as well, in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, it goes back to, but compatibility is, like the saying, it's unlike metals attract, but only to a degree. That's the way I would put it.
Yeah.
Because you can't be so far apart to be so attractive to one another. And mark you, when they say it's unlike metals attract, it's just because it's the opposite. So it's 2 sides of the same coin. If you put the positive against positive, it won't in a magnet. It's got to be the positive against the negative, but of the same whatever. So when, for me, the understanding about, compatibility is you, like the Bible says, Aaron held the hand of Moses. You're compatible because you support one another. You can see what the other party is not saying, or you can hear what they're not saying, and you respond to it even before they have you. So you pick up, like the phrase vibes. You understand their vibes. You understand the nuances, the things they haven't even said. Something's going on here. I don't need to push this button. This is where I need to stop with this. This is where I need. So, but if, it's like two angry people.
Yeah.
You can't live in the same boat.
No.
One person is angry, the other person just,
calm. Should be calm. And when this one goes down, not that you come up, you're like, look, this is not done us any favors. So the right time to say with the right words. That's why Bible encourages us, let our words be seasoned. So,
say the right things at the right time. Don't go off. Don't be after, I must say something. He said something, or
so I
she
must say
said
something back in return.
Yeah, to hurt me.
Yeah.
I'm going to, and you just, and the tension just keeps building. And building, rather than someone diffusing it. Yeah. So the issue with compatibility is you just knowing your partner, knowing how to respond, when to react. Yeah. And it's very essential. If you are not compatible, it's a matter of time, because that means you don't have any common interests. Having common interests does not mean you do everything together.
Okay.
That's not,
because
what
I think a lot of young people, when they get married, they expect that we have to do everything together. We watch the same movies, but you find that with time, it doesn't work.
The thing is, aren't you actually going to choke one another? If like we say sometimes, I am your best friend, but I should not be your only friend.
Yeah.
You're my best friend, but that doesn't mean you can't have some very good friends that I don't necessarily, I would say hi to, but I don't have to be in their business the way you're in their business. Because, sometimes, and when people say, oh, no, we have to do everything together, pull back and you find that there's an element of distrust in there.
Not necessarily always distrust.
Either distrust or insecurity.
I think most times it's insecurity.
It's got to be one of it.
Yeah, but I think most times it might be insecurity. And it just brought me to the question I was just going to ask. If giving your partner space is necessary, is it necessary to give your partner space from time to time? Space for them to do their own thing from time to time, isn't it?
There's no... See, good that you mentioned the issue. If I'm not insecure, why must I be in all your business? All your business, it's not that you're doing things I'm not aware of, but I don't have to plug in to everything. Can my wife go on a holiday with her friends? Of course, yes. Can she go out with friends? Even some men and some women feel uncomfortable if their spouse is in the midst of the opposite sex. That already speaks volumes that you feel insecure. It's either you don't trust him or you're not secure in yourself. And that comes to an identity. So it's, there are so many things we can pick up from there. Every human being and in every relationship, you must start from a place of self-love first. Because sometimes people project what they're afraid of. And you're trying to project it on someone else because you're insecure. They think, oh, who are you talking to? Must I? Let's use the example of a phone. Everyone in the house. Like I say to you sometimes when we even make jokes, if I don't want you to see it, it won't be on my phone. Not that I'm encouraging or saying anything, but the truth is, I have nothing to hide. So it's but some other people, because they've seen, this person found XYZ on someone's phone, and they hear, this one saw this on this one's phone, and that one. Next thing, they're in Bible. I need to check his phone. And what are you checking his phone? His phone is his phone. It's not yours. You shouldn't be. I shouldn't pick up your phone. The only time I should pick your phone is when it rings and you're not nearby. And if it's someone I know, I can answer it and bring the phone to you. But other than that, I have no business. It's an invasion of your privacy. I have no business with your phone.
People say that, you're a couple.
Yes.
Should there be, what privacy then? What's this privacy thing?
What do you mean?
Yeah, because you're saying, okay, it's an invasion. Picking up your spouse's phone is an invasion of privacy. What privacy are you talking about?
Picking up your phone when it's not looking through your phone.
Looking through, okay.
Going through your phone with intention
to find something. Okay.
It's demonstrate your insecurity.
Yes.
And if you're that insecure,
then there's a problem.
There's a problem. One,
you need to deal with yourself.
You might drive that person
away
further.
Yeah.
So privacy. When you say, okay, let me use this one, I'm just be as blunt. If you say, what's the point of privacy? Why aren't you in the bathroom when he's doing number 2? Exactly.
No, absolutely not.
If you want to talk about privacy, then you go where he goes, you do what he does.
Oh, no.
No. So everybody has...
You didn't have to go there.
No.
That basic.
Everyone has room for... I sit upstairs and I'm watching my tennis.
Yeah.
I'm on my phone. You're downstairs, you're watching your Korean movie, or you're watching something. Or you're talking to the phone and I hear a male voice. Why should I say, who's that? Who is she talking to? Who is it?
You just give yourself high blood pressure for nothing.
It just shows I'm not comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
And that's, I need to deal with that.
Yeah.
Not hang it on someone else's neck. And one other phrase I love is, and one saying, I think I read it somewhere, or what, the moment you hand over your happiness
to someone else,
you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Nobody should have that much hold over another human being. You are happy in your own skin. You are happy in yourself. Your partner, your spouse should only add to you, not because it's not there. Then you are not happy. Oh, he hasn't done this. Then I'm not. Yeah, there will be momentary whatever that make you feel but if your source of happiness is solely dependent on your partner, you've given them too much control over you. And like they say, what's the right thing? Where there are no boundaries, abuse.
Yeah, it's inevitable. That's Okay, we're fast coming to the end of this. I just wanted to ask one last question, and it's something to do with familiarity. Okay. They say that when people are together for a long time, there's familiarity, and they say there's a common saying: familiarity breeds contempt. Yeah. So, how do you deal? How should couples handle that familiarity without bringing in the contempt aspect of it? So you know your partner, so you feel like you know your partner so well, or you know what he's going to do next. But we all are evolving, from day to day, and the way I may have reacted to something last year may not necessarily be the same way I'll react to it this year. So how do we handle the issue of familiarity without bringing in the aspect of contempt in a marriage setting?
Yeah. I think the key thing is not taking one another for granted. Yeah. You can be familiar with someone, but you don't take them for granted.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Because the moment you take your spouse for granted, you're disrespecting who they are. Whether it's husband to the wife or vice versa. So familiarity is good, provided it doesn't breed disrespect. That's all I can say there. Because and sometimes, take for instance, maybe, jokes and what have you. If I crack a joke today and you don't find it pleasant, I should back off.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say, oh, but you laughed yesterday, why aren't you laughing today? No, you have a right to change your mind. I should just back off. Maybe you're not in the mood for it. And if I maybe do it and I say, no, stop it, I should know I should stop it. Maybe another time I want to find out what exactly about. I've cracked this joke before, but not at the time when you're not in the mood for it. So you can be familiar with someone, but you don't disrespect them. And everybody has a right to their opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Irrespective of how mundane it may sound.
Yeah.
But that's their opinion.
Yeah.
You can help them fine-tune it, but don't just rubbish it as useless. You have no sense.
Yeah.
Abba.
Yeah. Okay. So we've more or less come to the end of this episode. There's a lot to unpick in it, but I always say, I don't think we could ever finish any topic that has to do with marriage, and we will continue to talk about topics of marriage, and we'll bring in more guests to talk about these issues, and we'll go over some of these things. We might even repeat some of these things again, but yeah, because they are that important to talk about over and over and over again. So, as always, we like to end this this show on a note of hope. So, what would you like to say before we end the show? Last word? Any last word?
I'd just like to say thank you again for inviting me.
Okay.
At least it means I have something to say. And thank you again, for those who take the time to want to listen to this podcast. Thank God for the avenue and the opportunity to share different things, not necessarily from me alone, but from every person that has made their time and the effort, to attend. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that's it for this show. Thank you so much for listening to Navigating the Chapters of Challenge. And thank you to our returning guest, Fela Adeusi, for accepting the invitation, even sometimes very impromptu invitation to come and just share something with us. So thank you so much for your time, Fela. And hopefully we'll have you back again sometime soon. So thank you so much, and hope to have you on Navigating the Chapters of Challenge with Tele again sometime soon. Take care, and God bless.